Like, the shit you find at his house. I'll talk about it. You can ask him, like, hey, dude, earlier you showed me an old vibrator you found. I'm like, yeah, all right. I bought the property. I found that shit in the box.
Yeah, you said it hasn't been used, man. I saw some pubes on it.
There's some weird shit in there. Shit. It's just weird to find shit like that.
It is,
and
man.
a bunch of, like, when I bought this place, it was just fucking wrecked. Yeah. And finding, like, there's a bunch of paintings too. We found paintings and tapestry and a bunch of shit and fucking records and a Star Wars record that's like they're shaped like this. The vinyl is actually shaped of like the Death Star, and you can see everything.
Oh, badass, man!
Yeah,
you got to take that over to fucking First Friday or something.
I know. Everyone's
all
like,
that stuff.
"Oh, dude, I got a bunch." I don't even know if like anybody would buy that shit.
There's some weirdos out there, man.
Somebody who collects them.
I mean, the weirdos that own this house before you, man. Before you two weirdos now.
Yeah, because fucking this is actually my friend Chris 4. Is this used to be his grandma's house, and then
that's his grandma's vibrator?
Dude, probably, I don't know, dude. Like, might have been. We actually found a hairdryer too, in the box and everything. It's just weird, 'cause, like, it's cool when you find vintage shit, and
that's
you're
just to blow dry the wet spot, dude.
Get it all done. You're just like, yeah, and it came with a little bonnet, and you're like, yeah, you probably put that on your shit.
Little Miss Muffet sat on the tuffet, right? Or Little Miss... Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
I don't know these nursery rhymes, man. You might have me there. Guys, welcome to the Swan Time. And today my guest is Moses Mercado.
Hey, everybody. What's up?
I know Moses through the Phoenix comedy scene. We've roast battled each other a couple times. Yep. He's even yelled shit at me when he's not on stage from the audience. I got much love for this man, and he was recently on his podcast. You have to check out his podcast with your co-host
Chris.
Yeah. It's called Lay Frame Podcast.
Chris Newman, that is my co-host. He's.
Where can people find that podcast?
You can find that podcast, Lay Frame Podcast, on YouTube, Facebook. We're live every Thursday.
Mm-hmm. So on Facebook Live.
Yeah, Facebook Live every Thursday, Arizona time. I don't know, like whatever, it's like earlier before that or like later. Whatever the other times are.
Yeah, we're usually either Mountain or Arizona.
Yeah, so we start at 8, and it's just, we talk about trucks, mini trucks, vehicles, and stuff about automotive scene of what takes to build cars and stuff like that,
Yeah, and you had me on, and I am a complete novice when it comes to cars, and you were like, how? And so, like, let's have you on, and you had this, like, professional print shop that it does, stickers, graphics for cars. It goes to every car show, and so that was interesting to have, man. And it was you had very good questions, very cool atmosphere, 2 great hosts, and the guests, man. It was a really good time, and the people commenting live.
Yeah, because it's straight live. So like when we started a podcast, we had an episode, and I brought somebody on, and a person they didn't like. And everyone was like, why are you going to put this fool on, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as we went live, somebody was just like, he looks like a sperm face. And they just started, like, somebody started trolling hard. And he turns over and he looks at me and he's like, I'm like, no, dude. I start bursting out laughing. I'm like, I have no idea who these people are.
Yeah.
I go, this is straight out live. Whatever people are commenting, anybody can comment.
Yeah.
So, like, we've had people, like, we got people from Australia, Hawaii, the Midwest, a lot in the Midwest, and the comments that these people, do, and it's just,
Well, when you're reaching such a wide, general public, I mean, you're just going to get everything.
Yeah.
And if people see, unfortunately, the way it is, I mean, people see other people doing great things or just following their passions, and then they just blurt out. And some people, it's the comic side of us too.
And
you just want to say shit just to say shit.
Yeah, it's funny as fuck because it makes me laugh because we have one dude, friend of mine, fucking, this fool always comments every fucking time.
Yeah.
And it's fucking Bam. And I call him Transformer Man because he took a perfectly good Mercedes wagon and then chopped it up and then turned it into some kind of truck and then tried to turn it back into a wagon, and now it's just like an atrocity.
Whoa.
Like, it's modified beyond belief. And you're like, how the fuck do you, like, what the hell is it?
So he had it, he took this car, thought in his mind, this would be better this way. And then he was like, oh no, let me go ahead and undo.
And then all of a sudden he's like, okay, nah, I'll put a roof back on it. And then I'm going to put a truck front end, like SUV style front clip. And I'm just like, no, it's just weird, dude. Like, some people, like you said, people are weird.
Yeah.
People are weird.
Well, and you're testing the waters. I mean, I'm all about that. Like, hey, I wonder if this can happen. Let me try it out. And sometimes it's the whole fuck around and find out.
Yeah, there's always It's like measure twice, cut once. But like when you go to, sometimes you're just like, fuck it, and you just hack some stuff off, and you're just like, and it's like a lot of people, like when it comes to comedy, they're like, "Oh, don't you ever get nervous, motherfucker? I am nervous as soon as I find out I'm on the list." I'm like, even when you go to open mics, they're like, "Oh, you ever like, nah, dude, you know, you're everyone's always, oh, I'm not nervous, I kill it all I get it, like, but there's always that."
There has to be it because
it's got to give you a little rush.
You're needing the feedback from the audience.
Yeah,
so
and you got to have that little rush, man. Like
exactly. And if you're not having that rush, is because you're leaning on something that you feel like is going to work, and you already know this works. So I'm just going to do that. Yeah. Which totally guilty of it.
Yeah, because a lot of people do. I've seen a lot like where I'll see some of the awesome comics that I know, and they're saying the same joke, and I'm like, okay, okay, and they're rewording it, or they're saying it, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, all right, well, then maybe I should just not do new material and kind of reword all my old stuff. Yeah. So, like, I started doing that now, and I'm just like, all right, cool. I reworded it differently or said it differently.
Yeah, the pacing. Man, it's just, there's so much more than just what you're saying. It's how you're saying it, the delivery, your body posture, your emphasis.
And a lot of improv. I see a lot of people do improv.
Yeah.
Like Dana. Fuck, dude, she is fucking hilarious.
Dana's great,
dude.
man.
She did one at the tap room recently. Me and Alicia went to see Saturday, and fucking her little cartoons and just funny, dude. Like she was just like, "Fuck this! All right, now hold on, I got this." And it was just.
She's really going for it right now. Yeah,
she's really good.
I know she's. I've seen a couple of her posts being kind of like unsure what she's doing. I'm like, no. I was like. Because I invited my cousins out to a show that James Linder Barnett was throwing, and they were just like, "Oh my God, we absolutely love her!" And they were texting me like, "Thanks for inviting us, like for showing us her," And I sent her that. I'm like, Dana, I was like, just you keep going. I know it doesn't. It might not feel like it because it's not coming off exactly how you want because you are being fresh on the stage, but people notice it, they admire it, and
I like her improv stuff. Yes. I love the improv, like. That's one thing that a lot of people go like, well, who are your favorite comics? I'm like, I like old comics. Like Chris Farley was a good improv comic.
Oh yeah.
You had like Eddie Murphy when he was on SNL decades ago. Like the Buckwheat, like old like Dan Aykroyd stuff. Like a lot of comics that were not comics. Like Martin Lawrence when he was doing comedy. Chris Rock when he did comedy that was just like, oh shit, his raw stuff. And Steve Bryans, I love that dude. Like for being Asian American, that dude has it's off the wall different. Kevin James has some good stuff, and a lot of people don't realize that he was a comic before he became King of Queens.
Well, yeah, that was the road back then. The road was like, well, you're doing comedy just so you can land a role. A lot of those guys were in that.
And that's tight though, because like I did plays in high school, and I did, like small stuff, but like when I went into comedy, it was almost like a bucket list. Like something happened where I like had to take a step back, and I'm like, all right, I need to cross some shit out. I need to start doing stuff that I want to get done. And then I went and did an open mic at El Charro Hipster, and I still remember my bit was, I know people are wondering about my last name. I go, but if the court's here right, I go, every place in Arizona will be named El Market. There'll be no more Mercados ever. And that was my first bit, and I played to the staff.
Yeah.
and in comedy, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't want to play in a bar or like a hole in the wall. Like, no, man. Like, Joshua Harrison always told me when I first started coming up and doing open mics, he goes, you play out there. If you're playing to the fucking staff, you do it like if it's 40, 50 people there, you do it like the place is packed.
Yep.
Why? Because they're going to go home and tell somebody. The staff will be like, dude, you missed it.
Yeah.
Like, people should have stayed.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden now the people are like, okay, cool, I want to stay now.
Well, I'm going to check it out.
I want to check it out. See how far, like, who's going to be the layperson. And then sooner or later, like, I miss that place closed down, but they used to have like awesome comics that would roll through there that you wouldn't, that are getting bigger now. And, like that place was just a staple point for a lot of comics. Yeah. And what would be Wayward down, right? Down the street.
Yeah.
And then the donut place that's right there is awesome.
Yeah. That Jobot or Yeah.
I did. Yeah, Joe Bot donut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the donuts.
Yeah, I heard great things about Charo. I never got around to it because I just started last year.
Yeah.
And, I told myself, because when I was in the band, I was really hitting it hard. We were playing shows like crazy, traveling a lot. And I was like, all right, dude, just stick to the east side, go slow, and wait until people start bringing me out there.
Yeah.
I can't go out there right now.
Yeah.
I can't afford that time, all that. So I was like, go slow. So that is one I do regret not being able to go to, because
that one was a tight place, dude. Like they were a real small building, and then they expanded in that second half.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, the shows that they were putting on, and a lot of the musicians that were going through there. And comedy for me and a lot of stuff is just like, you gotta laugh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Life right now is like everybody's going through some shit. Everybody's having a hard time, but you gotta laugh.
Yeah.
You gotta sit there at some point and make fun of yourself.
You do.
Make fun of some dumb shit where, somebody might think it's wrong, but it's like, all right, cool. I find that funny.
Yeah.
Like if somebody goes, oh, well, man, dude, I always crack a cold one. And then you get somebody that come like, oh, yeah, I do it all the time when I'm over there with the cemetery, damn dead bodies. And somebody be like, oh, well, that's mean. Like, no, dude, that's funny. It's
exactly.
It's shitty. It's a shitty joke, but it's funny.
Yeah. Well, and because life is always going to be fucked up. It always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
You're going to have trials and tribulations.
Yeah.
You have to be able to laugh and not take yourself too serious.
You can't, no. You can't. It's like watching that, was it Ryan Reynolds movie? And he goes, you can't take life too seriously. You'll never get out alive.
You won't.
No, you don't. It took me, I'm 40 now, and it took me these many years to realize, be like, I'll scroll through Facebook, but it's not something that I'm going to have my whole day going, and have it ruin my day. Like, cool, I see so many of my friends doing all this stuff, and people ask me, you doing any shows? No, I'm not. I'm not doing any shows. I'm not getting booked. You know what I mean? I'm doing open mics. I'm putting my foot out there.
Yeah.
I'll do once in a while Marine. Thank God for Marine and their comedy. She brings me on, and a couple. David Horowitz is an awesome person, and he's put me on a couple spots too. And it's just like I like to ask, hey man, if you got any spots open, let me know.
Yeah.
I don't sit there like other people and get mad. Oh, well, they don't want to book me. Blah blah blah. I'm like, hey, if they don't want to book me, it's okay. I'm not known.
It's the Jocko thing. It's just keep working.
Yeah, and there was like, oh, well, I'm like, no, I go, everything's on Thursdays. I go, I got my podcast on Thursdays, so I can't really go hit fucking a show or whatever, So, but for me, it's just like when I started doing open mics and going to stuff and realizing that, you would go in, sign up, and somebody's homies will show up and they'll bump you down. And then you're playing to the staff. You're playing to 2-3 people.
You get bumped all the time.
Yeah, and I watch that and I'm like, all right, cool. And you know what? That makes me want to get better, so I can be the guy that walks in.
You can get at that level, yeah.
And and where they like where you walk, where now you can walk in somewhere, put your name down, and they'll put you on.
Yeah.
I can walk in and certain little open mics and be like, hey man, and like, oh hey bro, fucking blah blah blah. Hey you, I got you down. Yeah. And then you get brought up earlier, and it's like it's cool. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, all right, cool. I want to work to get better, And then the writing aspect, I know you write a lot, and
not
I know
as much as I should.
I don't know a lot of people give you shit about the whole phone thing when you're holding it.
Yeah.
Writing for me, it's hard.
Yeah. Well, I was only doing that for the roasts.
Yeah.
Because I was writing them, on the spot. But, other than that, I don't go up with my phone when I do my open mics.
Your open mics, you just already have it in your head.
I have it in the chamber what I want to do, and it never comes out how I.
Yeah, I know, because everyone's like, you gotta write. I'm like, I get it, but the thing is, like, my writing down is literally just my phone, and I just have jots of notes, and I have to read it, and be like, all right, cool. Like, I have one where I was at work, and the widest thing I heard was one of my coworkers tell a Mexican dude, hey man, you forgot your papers.
Oh shit.
And the Mexican dude goes, oh yeah. And he goes, oh okay. And then he goes, oh yeah, but the other dude came, so I gave him to him to give him to you. Oh okay, I figured you would. I'm like, what the fuck? And all I wrote down was the widest thing you hear in Arizona. And that's all I wrote. And then I just remembered that that's what happened at work.
Oh, gotcha.
Because that's what actually happened at work.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, that's so wide. And I couldn't stop laughing because he kept turning to me and goes, yeah, man, you left your papers here and you forgot them. And I was just like, what the fuck? You know, just stupid shit like
so
that.
So you're doing that to remind you of that. See, I'm different because I will lay out too many details. I tend to over-explain my joke, and that's my girlfriend's always telling me. She's like, dude, you're explaining the bit. Like, give the audience some credit.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you did a roast at one time, and I saw you, and you hesitated. You hesitated for you went in hard, and then you took 2 steps back.
Yeah, lesson learned on that one.
And that's why I'm like, no, that's why when I walked up and I was like, dude, I go, you did good, but why did you hesitate?
No, I got called out.
Why did you? Yeah,
and that's the confidence thing that I'm trying, because I don't.
You got to come from a dark place. Remember when you were fat?
Yes, for sure. Oh yeah.
Okay, so like I said, dude, you got to come from deep down inside. What made you lose the weight? You got to come with that fire when it comes to roast.
For sure.
You know, and a lot of people say you can't be too. No, it's a fucking
it's a roast. Well, and that's why, I think it was my delivery, because I literally had the roast where I'm saying that my opponent got fired for fucking dogs. Yeah. He was a dog walker, and he was fucking his dogs. And yet, it still wasn't they were like, oh, you didn't come hard enough. But I guess it was, to me, it's my delivery. So at that point, I'm like, okay, so stop kind of oh, we're being silly up here. When you're on stage, you're being silly, but hey, I'm serious about my comedy. I'm serious about this joke. This is funny to me, and I'm going to send it. Yeah. You know? Every now and then, when you kind of crack up on your own joke, okay, that's fine. But for the most part, you got to be up there with the confidence.
And that's why, when me and you battled, and I'm and I held that paper, I looked at it, and I'm like, all right, cool. And my heart's racing, and as soon as it was all right, cool, you were like, go ahead, I'll let you go first. I'm like, all right. And that's when I was like, all right, you look like the lollipop. And that's literally what came to mind when and I just said it, and it was just cool, I got a couple laughs. Yeah. And then after that, it was just all right, let me go see how hard I can go.
Yeah, man.
And that's the thing, people don't realize it's all fun and games, but you want it's a roast, you know.
Have to go hard. Dude, these people came for a good show. They hear roast, they're coming. They want to hear some savagery.
Yeah, but
especially with how big they become. Yeah, they've become so huge that's kind of where I feel like they're at right now too. Where it's they're so big and people are already going so hard that it's really hard to do a traditional roast joke, and people be like, oh wow. Yeah. You know, you have to go really dark and really just really hit them.
Hit them hard. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that the original roasting was literally a bunch of celebrities at a dinner party, and it was whoever's night it was of that night that won whatever award, or if it was his birthday, they would literally roast them.
Yeah, here's your trophy. Here's your trophy. We're gonna check your ass.
Yeah, you know. So a lot of people don't realize if you look in the 70s and the 80s and during the some of the jazz players, Dean Martin and them, they had roast. Rodney Dangerfield would roast. A lot of older comics would roast, and that's to me
Rickles.
Don Rickles, dude, that motherfucker is the king. His roasting is just, he didn't give a fuck. He would tell you straight out.
Mean, straight out.
But he would tell you straight the fuck out. He was just oh no, you just suck. Yeah. You know, oh, you're terrible. It was just, to me, that's what I think of roasting. And a lot of people oh no, I go, I get it. You got to come funny. You got to, I told Rob, when I lost recently to another, when I did one, and I was just man, dude, I go, am I doing something wrong? I had to sit there and I'm am I doing something wrong? Am I saying them different? I go, is it because maybe my roasting is too old, dinosaur style? Because I think of the your mama jokes, the living color, where you were oh, your mom's so fat, she stepped on a scale and it said to be continued.
Yeah. No, it's that's a classic.
See?
But it's evolved, and it also depends on the show. Yeah. So because the reason when I first did the first pot roast battle, I was getting a lot of roast videos and reels in my feed, and they were all very intricate, long and this and that, and I was oh, okay, this is what's in right now, so let me write these that are a little bit longer. But when you do pot roast battle, everybody's high as fuck, bro.
Yeah,
they don't have the attention span.
And that's where I kind of feel what made me laugh is when you hear them judge, and Brian will be I'm totally fucked up and I spazzed out, but I don't remember, but it was funny. And I'm like, how the fuck does that count?
I know.
Like, I get it, but all right.
Well, at the end of the day, it's how you made people feel.
Yeah,
hey,
and
I
that's the
felt
thing.
that you were funny. I can't tell you specifically what.
Yeah.
But yeah, with those, it is more of like, hey, you look like.
Yeah.
Because these people also don't know our ins and outs.
Yeah.
It's a bigger audience, so it's not a smaller audience of our friends and family and whatnot. So you do have to just like, you look like.
It just made me laugh because like when that one girl gave me points, she goes, I like when he did the one about his pants being down and peeing in the bathroom. Gave
me
that
the
was
visual.
Good. And I was like, all right, cool. At least I got 1 point. But it's just a lot of people don't realize that like I've been doing it only 4.5 years.
Oh, okay.
This would be 5.
I thought you were in it for a little bit longer.
No, I've literally 4.5. This would be 5 years now. Soon to be 5 years, and I don't come out a lot. Like I go hit a couple open mics, do a couple shows, and then life will happen for me, and then
Well, I started in April, and then there was a roast battle happening in Scottsdale in November.
Yep.
And that was the first time I had ever seen you or heard your name. But then I was like, when I was doing research, I was like, oh, this guy's been around. Like you're hanging out with everybody. I was like, oh, okay. So I wasn't sure how long you were doing it, but
no, I literally would be five because I remember the Joshua Harrison coming up and a lot. Glenda McGee's really funny.
So you would have started when I first started, because I did when I started the podcast.
Almost what, the 2019?
2019, yeah. That was my first stint. I did about 6 months. And then, so I started the podcast, started comedy, and then right after that, me and my ex-wife at the time, we separated.
Oh, shit.
And then by the time December came along, we tried to work on it. And so she was like, well, you got to quit comedy because I know you were talking to girls. I was like, okay. Listen,
yeah, but no, dude, really?
Listen. I was trying to save the marriage and the family, and you got to make sacrifices, right?
Yeah.
But now hindsight, I should have just stuck with it, right?
Yeah.
Hindsight. Who knows how it would have gone down any worse or any better, but yeah.
It's a lot of things, but a lot of people don't like comedy. People go, oh, well, there's so many people are fucking and drugging and everybody's getting hammered.
It's what you allow. It's what you allow.
No, like it's half the people I've been to comedy open mics where like no one's drinking, everybody's sitting there drinking water, writing like crazy. I've been to one open mic where a few of us are drinking, and some people are just like, all right, boom, I'm writing shit down. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm trying to remember everything that I wrote or everything that I jotted down and try to say it.
Yep.
Like I get nervous sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people like, oh, well, they don't know you, they don't book you. I'm like, I'd rather have it like that, because then when people be like, oh, I've seen that fool a few times, and then somebody say, well, I've never seen him before. I'm like, trust me, he's good. I'd rather have it like that where people know me but not know me, and then where they would want to be like, all right, cool. I've heard, I've some people talked about you. All right, cool. I'll give you a chance. Come on the show.
Well, and you're so busy with other things too that people know you in other realms. The car industry, and
I actually
you were
have
cooking too, right?
Yes. I flip eggs at Local Legends, which used to be Slaughterhouse out in Mesa.
Yeah.
Go there on the weekends, yo.
Yeah.
Fucking, you get breakfast, all you can eat breakfast.
Heck yeah.
You don't even have to fucking have a drink. It's all you can eat breakfast.
All you can eat breakfast.
Yeah, you can go have a beer or water or soda.
Yeah.
I like a lot. Like I tried to sign up for the funniest guy with the day job.
Yeah.
Because I have a day job.
Yeah.
Like I have an actual, like today I took the day off to do this.
Oh, man. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So it's like I have a day job. Like tomorrow I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, well, how the fuck? Like, yeah, like I gotta work. I'm like, I know some comics like they Uber Eats or whatever, and they like do small jobs here and there.
Yeah.
I'm like, jobs. I get it. That's cool. Like, hey, you got to have flexible schedule. I just somehow winded up fucking picking up car parts and delivering car parts where it's just like completely flexible. I think the latest I get out is like 4:00.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
well, and that's convenient. And that is you're transporting stuff, but it's stuff that you're into too.
Yeah.
So you get to have some interactions, some conversations with people that you want to have.
But it's good marketing too, because then fucking I'm over there telling them, hey, tune into this podcast, check out this show, check out this comedy shows of friends of mine.
Yeah.
You got like I'll tell people, hey man, there's a show at Stir Crazy. You know, there's this going on. Like, and people are like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, and I'll show them a reel of like when I did the showcase for House of Comedy.
Yeah,
I show them like, oh, you did that? I'm like, yeah. I go, dude, you got to go and check out this show and like other shows that they're having. And you know, a lot of people don't realize that there is a lot of fun stuff to do in Arizona.
Oh, tons.
You know, like people are like, oh, it's hot. It's hot. It's hot. I go, yeah. No one goes outside in the daytime. And if people are working, we're working. And Juan's always outside. Yeah. Fucking, yeah. I'm outside driving and fucking half AC, half outside. Yeah. Fucking still hot, dude, no matter what you're doing. Like, and then driving all over town.
Yeah, driving's crazy, man. What have you noticed that it's gotten worse as you know, like more people are moving here?
Oh, shit, dude. It's gotten... I think the more people move here, we're full already. We are so full. We are so full. So full of every out-of-stater, every out-of-towner. And y'all need to learn how to drive and stop taking like 3 lanes that turned into the left lane. Like, there's no reason for that. You know, there's so much stuff like how like out-of-towners. Traffic is slow right now. Like, there's not that many people because everybody went home for the winter.
The winter visitors, yeah.
But then everybody else is like, all right, cool, it's summertime. Let's fucking go to the lake and let's fucking traffic like. Fuck no. This weekend was horrible going on the freeway.
Yeah. Well, especially when there's fucking like construction
up the ass
everywhere, man.
Fuck, dude, every time.
They'll detour you and they'll detour you into more construction.
Yeah. Fucking, it's horrible, dude, the way they do that shit. Like, how they fucking do that shit with all the fucking detours, all the fucking that shit, you know. And you're like, why?
Moses, you need to run for mayor.
No, I want to run for governor. I want to run for governor.
Just straight skipping, huh?
Yeah, I just want to run for governor. And my whole slogan is, I hate everyone equally. That would, you know, because then nobody would be like, oh, well, he hates these people. I hate everybody. It'd be easier. Like, why fake it? You know, like, yeah, I want to run for governor. I'll walk into some place and be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? I want to do that one day. Like, wouldn't it be funny, dude, if somebody ends up being governor or mayor?
Well, why don't you just do it like as like an improv skit?
That'd be funny,
like
dude.
Just get a suit
and walk in and be like, "Hi, I'm your next governor for Arizona." Yeah. And if you vote for me, I won't do a damn fucking thing. I won't do a damn fucking thing. I'll just walk into like City Hall and just yell at everybody, like, "Do you fucking hear how you guys sound?"
Yeah.
No wonder nobody fucking wants to give any more money. No wonder the fucking Phoenix PD is so low. They're hiring everybody. Even the crackhead up the street got a job. Now that fool's a fucking narcotics investigator.
Oh, he's investigating them, all right.
Yeah, fucking, you know.
Sniffing them out.
Mm-hmm. I just want to, that'd be funny, just, you know, become a governor or mayor or something and, you know, be like, there's a dog that's a mayor of some town. No shit.
Like one of your dogs, bro? Or
No. No, like I was watching it. It's like an actual dog.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems like something like a Labrador.
Yeah.
Would do, right?
Yeah. And it's crazy though, because like comedy for me and working and having a job and going to work and trying to balance everything and everyone's like, like sometimes, dude, I just want to come home and pass the fuck out.
For sure, man.
It's
tiring.
And you're always on the move. You're always athletic and you're running 10Ks and doing fucking, you know, Ninja Warrior shit and, you know,
kicking my own ass right now.
You know, and then on top of that, you're doing you got an agent now?
Oh, yeah. So I had 2 of my workout buddies in the workout group I'm in. They do modeling and acting for Signature Models and Talent based out of Scottsdale. So
fuck, I'm going to have to meet up with one of them fools and be like, hey, man, you need a stereotypical ugly-looking Mexican dude that'll play your stereotypical cholo. And,
exactly.
You know, I got psoriasis, so that'll help more so I could do the commercials for it, too.
Yeah.
The befores and no afters.
No, that's the thing about just acting and modeling. I mean, they need every look, and you never know what they're looking for, man.
Oh, yeah, because, dude, I seen a TikTok where John Leguizamo was getting all pissed off because they're not giving... I sat there and I fucking commented. I'm like, well, if he don't want those roles, fucking hand them over. I'll do them. Yeah. I'll play your stereotypical fucking gangbanger. Come on.
Listen, John's a legend. He should be able to pick and choose. If he's getting crappy roles still, that's unfortunate, but there's people that want those.
Yeah, like, you know, you can't, beggars can't be choosers. You know, like, I was always told that, like, you don't get on anything if you don't ask. Like, you know.
That's true. I need to get better about that. You know, like, I need to be out there and be like, hey, let me be a part of this.
Yeah, I tell them every time I see a comic I know, like, hey, man, you got any spots? Let me know. I can do every day but a Thursday.
Every day but
Every
a
day
Thursday.
but a Thursday. I need a shirt that says that. Can do everything but a Thursday.
You need one, man.
Yeah, it's like, no. But, you got the acting thing, and that's got to be scary too,
It's very scary, man.
You got to like memorize shit, and then you got to they're staring at you and going, all right, now.
I need to wrap up something today when I get home. I'm gonna try and incorporate the kids in my audition tape for this game show that's coming out. And
nice.
They're looking for contestants, so I'm gonna try and like do all kinds of shit.
So that's pretty much like you're just making videos and just like submitting them like old school still.
Yeah. So nowadays, since COVID,
Yeah.
they've just maintained like Dropboxing your audition tape.
So pretty much it's still old school. Like you still send in an audition tape.
Essentially, yeah. Instead of being in person, but then if they like you, then they'll bring you in. Okay. So it's you're not wasting your time by going there, but also it's like you're not creating that contact thing. So I need to schedule some acting classes with the casting directors, so they know they're familiar with my face, they're familiar with what I am. It's like going performing at an open mic at JP's or Stir Crazy. So then the owners and the bookers see you and then like, oh, okay, I'm familiar with this guy. Same idea.
Okay.
But Arizona is a commercial market, so everything that they want to see, they don't want to see like the stoic model. No, everything's smiling because we're commercial. They're selling commercials.
So like if you're not smiling, they ain't buying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's a lot of the stuff I'm getting is mainly for commercial acting, casinos and.
Oh, so you're gonna be that one fool when they're like, at Diamond Desert Casino, winners come to win, and then you turn around, and you're like, where's my money? Like big old fake check, and then the camera turns off, like fucking yank the check from me. Go to your fucking train.
Yeah, get fuck out of
here. You're done.
Here's
like
your $50.
$50.
Yeah. No, there is a story about a guy because that's the agency. Obviously, they're like, hey, make sure anything that reaches out to me in regards to like acting or commercial use like that, like. And that's the one thing before I signed. I was like, hey, I got a podcast. I do comedy. Are you guys going to try and touch anything that I do with that? And they're like, no, that's your own thing. I'm like, okay, cool. But like any sort of roles that come in, like if somebody wants me to be in a video of some sort, I have to run it by them. And that's just to make sure that, I'm being compensated appropriately. So they investigate, where is this going? How is this going to be spread out? This and that. Because they had a guy that took a $50 background job for a casino.
Yeah.
They paid him out. He went home. They end up using a lot of his material, a lot of the scenes that he was in and whatnot. And so he starts getting postered all around, and he only got $50.
Oh,
but the worst part is that when another casino reached out to the agency, they pushed him. They sent him the thing too, right? They're like, hey, this casino's looking, apply. And he applied, and they're like, hey, he's on a competitor's website. And
then he has to sit there and explain himself. Like,
well, we're not going with him.
Oh shit!
And so he lost out on like $5,000 from this other company because he took this $50 job.
And that's the thing, dude. Like there are production companies out there that, will be like, hey, let's bring all these different fucking shows and start getting all this, get on these people to sign, and then they don't realize that they're signing a fucked up contract until it's too late, and then they don't own anything.
Yeah.
And then you're just like left out, like going,
that's the tough part,
okay,
man.
cool. And then you just sit there going, all right, I should have read it.
Well, it's a trade-off, man. And a lot of people will be willing to do that. They'll be willing to trade off, their ownership of whatever is being produced here for the ability to it being broadcast and have their marketing backing to and get bigger.
Yeah.
I heard that the advice that Taylor Swift got from... Who was the first American Idol singer? Clarkson?
God damn it.
Clarkson.
Kelly Clarkson is the first American
Told
Idol
her, hey, all that music that you don't have the rights for, just re-record it how you originally wanted to. Remember how you recorded it, but they were like, hey, you need to change this and this. Now you release it and just say these are Taylor's editions, and then you repackage them, and now you own the rights to them. Now you have that. And that's a way to kind of redirect that.
Yeah.
A losing battle, but you have to. A lot of times you have to. I don't say you have to, but it depends on how bad you want to get to the next level.
Yeah.
How quick? Then those are some sacrifices a lot of people are willing to make.
I totally get that, and then like a lot of people, they're like, well, you got to use it as a stepping stone to as a learning experience, and then you can move on to bigger, better things.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people like tell me all the time, like, well, because you're not hitting it hard, bro. You ain't hitting the comedy thing. I'm like, I know I'm not hitting it hard, but at the same time, like, I got so much stuff going on, you know, and then I'll hit an open mic here, or I'll get somebody be like, hey man, go talk to so and so, you know, they're doing a show or they're doing that, and you know, I want to do the roast stuff still, and a part of me wants to bring the You Look Like stuff to Arizona, like they have it out in Houston.
Totally, man.
You know, because that would be a whole different version of it, you know, of roasting. That, you know, it would be different from the ones that are here. Instead of like your typical, hey, we're going to go back and forth. Now we can be like, hey, well, you look like...
No, there's room for all of that. And you know, the benefit of doing something that's very specific like that is people know what they're getting. Yeah. They show up, they're like, hey, this is what I'm getting. Yep. I'm comfortable with this. Yeah. Other shows, they don't... A lot of times that is why people don't come out, because they're like, well, I don't know what I'm going to get. What's the quality? What's the content? Yeah. But at this, you know you're going to get...
you know you're going to hit some... you're going to have people talking shit, and then everybody getting high as fuck. You know, like, I love doing the deep story. When I see there's shit stickered on that QT, a part of me is like, dang, dude. I'm like, I did that. I'm like, I was able to be on one of those. Yeah, you know? Exactly. And then, like, sometimes it's Facebook, when we did the one, and it shows up on their website, you know, for you can buy tickets off the Deep Story site. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, that's badass. I go, because everybody sees it, you know. Yeah, man. And it's like, it's so cool, because like a lot of people don't realize, like, it's the small things that make people happy. And it's for me, it's always the small stuff that makes somebody happy. Like, for me, the small things for me would be like seeing my shit on the internet. You know what I mean? That's something small. Or like when somebody goes, hey man, I caught your shit. You know, I love it. I like how you're doing.
They'll be like, hey, I recognize those glasses. Where from?
Like, or somebody go, hey man, didn't you were on a roast with somebody, and you know, didn't you? I'm like, yeah. I go, and I like it. And then sometimes it's a little scary, you know, because you're just like, you're not used to that. Like, you know, like I'm used to having a lot of my friends that are doing big things now. You know, Aldo, I remember that fool came and did he did a few minutes on a show that I was hosting at Lenore's like decades ago, and he came and did a few minutes, and then now he's in New York. You know, a lot of people, like, you know, but I always look back as like Joshua Harrison was a big influence and helped out a lot, because he did remind me that, you know, you gotta go out there and do it. You know, you gotta go out there, but you gotta go out there and give your best, no matter how small of an audience you have.
Yeah, it's a performance, man. And these people, you're here to convey that these people are here to see the greatest show they're going to see tonight. You're here for the best show, no matter what, no matter, you know, what the topic is, no matter, you know, how packed or not packed it is. You're here for to do your art at the end of the day, too.
That's how a lot of people don't, you know, like, we're all trying to achieve the same thing.
So what got you into comedy the first time? Were you talking shit in the kitchen?
No, oh man, I've been talking shit so much in the kitchen for decades, bro. Like, when I worked at a place called Happy's Hamburgers in Scottsdale, we could see the screen. Yeah. And I remember one time somebody came in and you could smell the cologne. Yeah. And they literally yell out, "Damn, it smells like child support and depression out there."
Oh shit.
And or sometimes I would see like the dudes that would come in with their girlfriends, and the dudes are holding their girlfriend from the back. I'm like, and I would yell out, "Oh, look at that! She's paying for your meal, bro. Oh shit, you better give her some good loving, because she's paying for all that shit."
The classic holder that like this. Yeah.
And the front of the house would always come back and be like, "Dude, they can fucking hear you." I go, "I don't give a shit. I go, I don't care if they hear me or not." I'm like, don't, like, you're. I'm like, I think it's just being teased and stuff for so long, and just after a while I just started just saying it, like, just started, you know, somebody at one time, I'll give advice how to get fired from any job super fast. You know how fast it is? You just tell them straight out, "What? No, dumbass." Like, okay, all right. Like, I worked at a hotel chain on Westgate, and my truck broke down, and the boss, I sent him a text, and then he calls me and he goes, "Well, I'll send you an Uber." And I go, "How the fuck is that going to help me, dumbass?" Yeah. I'm like, "Are you going to send it every day?" I go, you can do it for the whole week? Like, literally, tell me how that's going to help me. And then all of a sudden I get a text, "Oh, don't bother coming in." I'm like, "All right, cool. Don't bother me none." I go, "I don't give a shit anyway." Fucking, you know, like, people don't realize, like, they're like, to me, quiet quitting and like stuff like that. Nah, dude, like, I always started talking shit. Like, I would always, somebody would say something, like, come back at them at something. Because growing up, dude, you would get teased.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
I have, I'm going to say more my nephew counts. I got two brothers.
Okay,
my
so
older brother.
Moses, Abraham, Cain.
No, actually, it's Miguel and Jorge and my nephew, Angel, Miguel, because he's named after his dad. And that's it, man. Like, I was tormented as a child by my two brothers, you know, and it just kind of like evolved and them picking on me. And then my brothers would always be like, you got to stand up for yourself. So I just started either talking shit or making fun of them. And then the your mama stuff would come around when I was growing up. So it was like, oh, your mama.
Yep. Classic.
You know, and it was just little by little. And as I got older, I was just like, all right, let's see how far I can go. And I remember working for a construction company, and there was a guy named Earl, big old fat white dude, and he was the head supervisor of that job site. Yeah. And I would always be like, hey, good morning, yeah, to everybody, to the fucking masonry guys, to the fucking stucco dudes. Orale, good morning, ¿qué están haciendo? Like going saying hi to everybody. Yeah. Good morning. And I would, hey, good morning, Earl, how you doing? He goes, do I look like I'm having a good morning? Do I look like a morning person? And I turned to him, and I go, no, Earl, you look like one of your kids is draining you from your Social Security, and you have to take care of kids from your other daughter who's probably on meth somewhere, ODing with your ex-son-in-law that you can't stand, who probably is already draining you for more of your money, and now you have to work into your golden years because of them. Yeah, exactly. And my boss of the electric company I worked for yanked me to the side. Oh, shit. And goes, what the fuck, dude? You cannot tell that to a fucking supervisor. And I go, I don't care, dude. I go, ain't no reason to be a fucking dick. I go, hey, I just said was good morning. And he goes, go home. So I got sent home. Came back the next morning. And I said, my morning again. I go, good morning, Earl. And he goes, come here. And I go, yeah. And he goes, good morning, man. And he goes, first person ever to say anything to me. And he goes, you have a good morning, man. Yeah. And from then on, he would always say good morning. We always chit-chat.
Some people just check you.
And it's just like, it's always evolved. And there's some times where my mouth has gotten me into some shit. Yeah? Oh, yeah. There's been some times where I've been in HR and they were like, you can't say that to someone. And I'm like, they're being retarded. I'm like, don't come in here asking for this if you can't read. Yeah.
Well, that's the issue. That's why the HR waters have gotten so muddy, because you can't call people out.
You can't. No, you can't, dude. I remember one time I was in HR and they're like, you can't tell the server kids, to fucking go look in the freezer for themselves. And I'm like, well, don't bother me while I'm feeding 200 people and private party, and you want me to try to find you some ranch dressing. Yeah, right. Go in the fucking freezer and look for your fucking self.
Dude, kids can't. Like, some people really can't take it in general.
Like, and they always tell you, like, oh, why? Like, no, I'm like, when you start talking shit to people and you just try to, like, Rob Maybe's fucking perfect at it, and his deliveries are killing, beautiful at it. And I ask him, like, am I doing it wrong? He goes, you just gotta not come so, like, crazy with, like, you're making them laugh, dude. You're not trying to fucking make somebody cry or get really pissed off at you. Because when I started roasting and I started doing the purple turtle with Jesse, there was a couple nights where, like, I would come out like that, and my first night coming out was, like, literally turned around to some dudes and I'm like, hey man, give me 2 minutes, exactly the same shit that your girlfriend asked you on a Friday night when you're in bed. Hey. And my brother was there watching, and him and my cousins came out, and after that my brother goes, hey man, those dudes look pissed. And I'm like, dude, you're at a comedy show. And dude. I walked over afterwards. Like, I walk over every time I do an open mic or I do a show like that, I walk over and I'll be like, hey man, just jokes, bro. And some people be like, oh no, dude, that was funny, blah blah blah. And a lot of people go, well, roasting is, a lot of people don't like it, and they're like, oh, roasting is like kind of hacky. And I'm like, roasting? No, I go, roasting is just a different form of comedy. Yeah. You're just talking shit, making fun of somebody.
It's known, man. If you're at a comedy show and you're close enough,
you're sitting up front.
You're sitting up front. You are a target.
Yeah, you're gonna get picked on, no matter what. Like, you're gonna get picked on. And for me, it was being picked on throughout my entire life that I just kind of, like, after a while, I just stopped giving a fuck. Yeah. Like, after a while, I just stopped worrying about things that were just so, like I said, when I scroll through Facebook, I don't let it ruin my day. If somebody posts something dumb or something, oh my God, I'm like, cool, cool. I hope you have a good day. Try to better. I'm doing different things. I got other stuff less to worry about than somebody having a really fucked up day. I hope their day gets better, but like, it's not going to be where, I came like me and you came from growing up where there was no phones.
Yeah.
Where we were outside, you know, where the whole thing of, hey, you want to talk shit, I'll catch you in front of your, like the whole catch me outside was a route. Like you did catch somebody outside.
Yeah.
You know, like back then, if you were talking shit in school, all right, cool, I'm going to go to your house. I'll pull up to your house. And you literally had you and your friends on a bicycle, or you would, if you drove at the time, you roll up to that fool. Come on, fool, come outside.
Or I saw a meme where it was like school was crazy because it was like, the only point in your life where you had an appointment to get your ass kicked at 7:30 in the morning.
Yes, like yes, or at noon, or at 3.
Yeah,
you know, I'll catch you at 3, fool, and you're like, motherfucker, and then you avoided the fucking lead. You're like, I'm gonna like walk through the back way.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse at 7:30 in the morning. So then you go through the rest of your day with like a black eye, or knowing that you lost, or at the end of the day where you're like just anxious and like worried because you're
either way, dude. Either way, I've had my share of getting jumped in the bathroom when I was younger, and having my homework taken and stuff like that. Like a lot of people don't realize, like my roasts come as weird as they are is because of like I've had the fucking like the typical like
the real shit,
like what you see in the movies of the fat kid getting picked on, like thrown around, and like that happened to me. Like, you know, like I remember getting suspended because I stabbed a kid with a pencil because he fucking wouldn't leave me alone. Like,
damn, where'd you stab him?
In his knee.
Statute of limitations.
In his knee. In his knee. And then I stabbed somebody in the chest when I was in 8th grade. His name was Jesus Garcia, and he kept picking on me, and I just turned around and go, leave me the fuck alone, and boom, stuck him with a pencil.
Bam.
And I broke it, and real quick, go to the office.
Yeah.
You know, because I just got like when you
get pushed. Picked on. Yeah, you get pushed.
I got really tired of getting picked on, and after that, and then as I got older, I just started talking shit, and then when it got to the point to where I'm like, all right, cool. I had an incident happen, and I went through a bucket list, and that's how the comedy thing came about. Was I've always talked shit through years.
Yeah.
But I had an incident happen, and I had to check off a bucket list. I had a reality check, and I had to sit there. I'm like, okay, cool. I know I'm not here forever. Let's fucking make the most of it.
Yeah.
So boom, at that age, at that time, I'm like, cool, let's do this, and I started doing stuff. I started checking off a lot of stuff that I wanted to go do. And when comedy came, I went and did an open mic, and then started doing another one, and then I did another one, and then I did another one, and then after that, and then all of a sudden somebody goes, hey man, you want to go do this? You want to go do that? A year ago today, I was in Vegas. Nice. Josh Lidwar invited me out, and I went out there and did a little bar.
Yeah.
And got paid a couple bucks. And did the bar, enjoyed it, had a good time, stayed out there till Sunday. Met a guy named Bruce Leonard who runs Champagnes, and they do an open mic on Tuesdays at midnight, which is badass also.
Yeah.
He was like, hey man, you ever out in Vegas? Come out, you know. And they always have an open mic, you know. And when I went out there, it's like, holy shit, you know. And then I saw a different scene in Vegas of comedy, you know, where comedy over there is fucking. It's 24/7.
It's everything. It's a city of entertainment.
Oh yeah, you know, a lot of great comics. Josh Lidwar, and then his friend, I can't remember the name, Connolly, and they do the Jimmy Kimmel one.
Club.
Yeah. And they do, and they're, you know, and he's in town doing. I think he's doing the Purple Turtle and the 44 this Friday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but he gave me a chance when he saw me at the Purple Turtle, and he was like, hey man, come out to Vegas, and ended up went out there, and then I'm like, all right, cool. And like now I'm just like, I look back at that and I'm like, man, dude, I sucked. I'm like, and then I hit him up now. I go, hey man, I heard you're in town. And I go, hey man, I got a whole, like, I got material now. Like I have a set. I have a set now. Like I have jokes. I've written stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the hard part for me is like, I don't do a lot of stuff. I don't hit a lot of shows. I don't get booked much. But to me, it's like mystery. You know, you may not know me. Some people have heard of me. Some people have met me. All right, cool. Let's see what he got.
Nice.
And then you come at them, and then you hit them hard, and then they're like, holy fuck. You know, like, okay, cool. He is funny. Like, he just not only does roasting.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's a big part of why I don't get booked is because they see that I roast. Like, I'm a roast comic, you know, crowd work, and that's, like, frowned upon. But you do see it lightly in some comedy shows.
Well, yeah, you
some
see
comedy
it. I mean,
people,
that's Josh's bread and butter.
Oh, that and he fucking murders it. He kills on that shit, dude. And that's where I'm just like, damn, dude, I want, like, that's like, I remember watching him at fucking Devil's Advocate, And some ladies fucking started roasting him. No, this was recent.
Oh.
Some lady started fucking like heckling him, and he just fucking unloaded on her, dude. Unloaded to the point where he's like, I remember what he told her. He was like, I think he said, like, calm down, lady. Like, they're here to laugh, not hear about you and your boyfriend's problems and how you're not going to go home and suck his dick or some shit like that. And he was just unloaded on this fucking lady in the back, and everyone just, like, busting out laughing, and then they eventually did just stop.
Yeah, and they crawled into their cave.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, that fool takes care of it. Him and Rob Maybe are so good at their roasting that it's just phenomenal, like how they execute and kill shit to where like I want to be at that level.
AV too.
AV is fucking phenomenal. She fucking murders that shit. I've seen her murder that shit like phenomenal.
And then her versus Jesse at the roast battle, the Jeff Ross roast battle that Brian Moses hosts.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to go to that. Yeah.
Man, that was so good.
And then it got canceled the second time.
Yeah, both April and May, because I was supposed to be on the May one, but yeah,
that's where I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind going on that, but at the same time, I'm probably gonna do like everybody else and be like, well, you know what? I want to go. I'm gonna head out and check it out over there. Like, you know, I wouldn't mind going to Texas and checking out the mothership.
Oh yeah,
you know, but I wouldn't mind going to Houston and checking out the Riot Comedy Club. They host the You Look Like comedy.
Oh, nice.
And that's where like I started watching that more, and I like that because that's like kind of reminds me of like when you're in school, you know, saying your mama instead of saying your mama, like you look like So like, but stuff like that, you know, comedy for me is always coming up funny, trying to be better.
Yeah.
You know, but like I have a hard time, you know, like I know I'm not that funny. You know, like I know some of my jokes are corny and garbage.
Yeah. Same.
You know, like everyone's like, you know, like no, but I got, you know, there's some stuff that I like, a lot of my materials of stuff that's happened to me.
I don't think I've seen you do actual stand-up.
No one. Yeah, everyone's just seen me do is roasting or stuff like that. Like, they're like I have a bit that I did at House of Comedy for Sunday Showcase, and it just goes, I love being an uncle because I always get those fucking phone calls, and I get a phone call from my nephew, and he goes, hey man, you gotta come to my school. It's parent-teacher conference. I need you here like fucking now. Yeah. Like, all right, I get there. He just doesn't tell me that his teacher is hot as fuck.
Yeah.
We walk in and just sit down, and I'm just staring at her like, damn. And all I hear is Mr. Mercado, you know you're something. I'm like, and I just turn over and go, if you fucking look down, you're going to graduate. Don't ever look up at her. No matter what your teacher says, don't ever look up at her. You'll be fine. Yeah. And I go, 25 years later, his fucking wife hates me because now she tells me he never wants to look up at me when we're talking. You know, like, you know.
Yeah, to get the job done, to follow through.
Yeah, you know, and then it's just like bits like that. And then I have another bit of, I call it the rescue. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I bought a house and now I want to rescue stuff. So I got flowers, toys, treats. I get to the building, go look at everything. And then the lady turns around and gives me those bad news and goes, sir, this is a women's shelter.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, Pam, that I like women and I want to take them home. I go, I brought treats and flowers.
Get into my van.
Like, well, I ain't got no van, but get into my Explorer. You know?
You do for the bit.
Yeah, you know, for the bit. Yeah, get into my van. But, you know, I got that. And then, you know, like I used to have another one that when I did, and I asked somebody in the crowd, I go, anybody married? They're like, yeah. And that's where the whole butt butter comes in the thing. Because Tom Segura says it in one of his bits, and he talks about how being married for like so long. And my version of it is like, oh yeah, your guy's been married so long, y'all probably already had so much weird sex that like should just spit butter in your ass, and you're just like, cool, give me more. Just don't make it cold. You know, right. Give me Luke temperature, you know. And it's like people are like, what the fuck?
You just got to go there, man. That's,
you know.
People forget that a majority of comedy is saying what is observable and is obvious, but maybe shouldn't be said in a normal context, you know. But when it's here for the laugh,
it's like what's your shittiest joke that you know never, like you try and you know it doesn't hit, and you're just like, all right, I gotta try it again.
Me trying to suck my own dick is always a rough one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that. Okay. See, that's good. That's good. Like for me, my shittiest joke is is one of my friends is getting married, and she met her husband at the strip club, and she knew that she was going to marry him when his dick was slapping in his face.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh my God, he's the one I'm going to marry." And now I got yelled at because I'm standing at the wedding reception telling this story now.
Oh,
you know,
the speech.
Yeah, and he's just like, and now I'm getting a dirty eye. I gotta go now, bye. You know,
see you later.
And that's, you know, and they're like, "Oh, like that's stupid." I go, "Yeah," I go, "but it's funny." Like,
it's
I
funny.
I don't do politic comedy.
I would like to.
Why?
Just because of the different. I want thought processes to happen in my audience. So like a lot of these other bits I haven't really worked out yet. I want my initial phrase, my initial statement to come out and to make some people in the audience be like, "Ew, like what?" But then by the time I'm done with it, I turn them over.
Turn around and you bring them back to that.
Like the one I have is where, you know how there's casual Fridays.
Yeah.
That we should incorporate braless Mondays.
Oh, and have so women just show up
without a bra, you know.
Why not topless Tuesdays?
that's a bit too far, sir.
Why? You don't want it, you know, some will be hanging, some will be perky, some will be smiling.
And yeah, exactly, right. And what I have kind of noticed is that with the age now, actually, like a lot of women are like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, I'll go to work without a bra just because it's like free the nipple, you know, why am I going to do this?" And that was my whole point, was like, you know, you think initially hearing a guy on stage saying braless Mondays, oh, this pervert just wants to see fucking titties and we'll turn up the temperature, you know.
Yeah, no.
But I reverse it because I'm like, you know, the bra was invented by a man, and because he says these where your titties should be. But you need to let them go, allow them to hang where God wanted, and you're beautiful, you know. So it's reversing it, you know, that whole thing.
What'd be funny is all you have to wait is for somebody who has menopause and be like, just wait till your hormones start hopping off the front of that chest there and hang down.
Yeah,
you know, like
swinging down.
Yeah, swinging there. Being like Miss Chokes on Dick from South Park.
More like Miss Makes Me Sick.
Super makes me sick. They're like, the saggier the better. No, if she could slap you with them and it comes all the way around,
it goes. It's like a scarf.
No,
I'll scarf them down too.
Yeah, fetch in the face always.
So when you started comedy, and you said there was an event that happened in your life that really pushed you towards it, but were you already like deep into cars and all that? Is that something that's always been present?
Cars has always been a part of my life. Cars has been something that my father was a mechanic and a janitor.
Okay. Yeah.
Like literally, that's what my dad did. My dad swept and cleaned toilets for a living for 25 years for a supermarket chain that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was called Alpha Beta, and then it turned into APCO. And then it turned into APCO Desert Markets, and then they disappeared. You can actually Google and the history of it. And my dad was a janitor for 25 years.
That is, man.
And then after that, he retired. And then throughout him being a janitor, he worked as a mechanic. Yeah. And I watched him throughout my life growing up, fixing cars in the backyard.
Everybody bring him his car.
Everything. Like, and I watched him take a car that sat in our yard, and my brother was like, "Oh, I want to drive it." All right, cool. And I watched him start it. As I was playing with Hot Wheels and going to the junkyard and holding the flashlight, and I was just learning, and I was just so intrigued on like watching someone take something that's sitting there, that looks like it's sat there for years, and then all right, we're gonna do this, and this.
That is beautiful, man.
Boom, and it fires up, and then all of a sudden it's on the road.
Yeah, exactly. It brought back to life. Yeah, like Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah. So like when I was in high school, I was already working. I've been working since like the age 12. My dad got me a job at a liquor store down the street from my house.
You were working at 12 at a liquor store? At a liquor store.
And I was just sweeping and putting away all the beer. So the truck would come down, and the truck would come, and I would just unload everything and put everything away. Yeah. And my dad would always go to this liquor store down the street on Greasewood at the end before you hit Dysart. And he would go there, and he knew the guy, and the owners were all...
And Dysart back then was nothing.
Yeah. So there was nothing. There was just, there was no other way. There was no Walmart still. That like
there was a liquor store and a fucking title loan place.
And and that was it. And there was like a video outpost. And I just started working there. And then and when I hit high school, I bought a car for $600 off my friend Carlos Heredia. Yeah. But he was in the backyard. It was a 74 Nova. I just sat in the backyard full of chicken shit. I told my dad, I bought this car. And he was like, we got to go get it. And my dad's like, all right. So we go get it. And he goes, does it run? I go, nah. He said it did, but I don't know. He said, we might have to put a battery to it. And my dad walks around the corner and this thing's covered in bird shit.
Yeah.
And just chickens are hopping out of it and all this shit. And my dad just looks at me and he goes, oh, we're going to tow this home. And I spent my entire sophomore and junior year literally like bringing this thing back to life with my dad.
And you did it?
And we did it. And I drove it one time to high school.
Yeah.
Almost lost control and took it in a ditch because my seats weren't bolted down.
Jesus,
and I drove it once to high school, and then after that I didn't drive it. I started driving my mom's car. But I had a register and stuff, but I didn't drive it to school. I only drove my mom's car, and I only drove it once, and then like I was happy with that.
Yeah.
But like we brought it back to life, and it was just like a $600 car, and it was cool, putting all my money, all my paychecks, into this thing, dumping it in the motor parts and everything, and aftermarket stuff. And then my dad, every weekend, all right, we're gonna do this to it. We're gonna put this on.
It's constantly fine tuning.
Yeah, and then driving it, and then I drove it, and then it was rusty as shit. So I had a back shock that broke off driving it to across the street somewhere.
Damn.
And I was just fixing it, and then I wanted to go to automotive school. Sold it to my cousin, which I regret that because my cousin's ex-husband has it now. Yeah. And that I don't even recognize that car now, like fully restored, hot rod. Like when I handed it to him, it was primered. It was like gray.
Oh, gotcha.
Like gutted out, one bench seat, a shitty ass CD player, 6x9s screwed to the fucking bare metal doors. Damn. No interior in it, And then all of a sudden, a few years later, it's like, fast forward now, I'm like, where the fuck's the car? I go, oh, it's in the back. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I go, this don't even look like it. And he goes, yeah. And I go, you gonna sell it? And he goes, nope. Like it's like I always grew up around it. Like my dad, my brothers had cars that were modified.
Yeah.
So hydraulics came into play in the 90s.
Yeah.
So like when the 90s when the 90s hit you, when I was in like second grade, my brothers were driving around like little mini trucks with hitting switches and
no shit.
On hydraulics, and some of their friends had trucks with bed dancers, and like I grew up around it because my dad did it, and then my brothers just went crazy with it.
Yeah, see, I was around it, but not to that extent. Yeah. My dad was always working on the cars, and I remember going to pick up parts, especially going to San Luis, Mexico. We'd go to Mexico for everything, bro, just because
it was so cheaper.
Cheap. Yeah. We'd go there for everything. So it was definitely around, but nobody was modifying the car like that. I think that probably would have intrigued me more if I would have saw somebody doing that. But like I was telling you on your show, for whatever reason, it just didn't call to me any further than that.
Yeah, for me, it was all around. And even my dad, when he would tell me stories on the cars he had, because when he moved to Surprise, he was the first person to buy a house in that development. And he used to tell me, he goes, I drove around with my 59 Biscayne, cut springs. The springs were cut so far down that, me and your mom, we turned a corner and fucking one side would fall out and it'd fly out, and I'd have to go pick it up and jack up the car. And he'd tell me how he painted the drums a certain color so when the chrome shined off the mag wheel, he, like my dad literally was like, I was the first guy driving around a lowered car in Surprise. In the 70s. Like, dude. My dad bought his house in like I believe like 76 or 76 or in 75 he bought it.
Is he still around?
No, my father passed away in 2011 from esophageal cancer.
Oh man, sorry.
Yeah. I guess can't like that's how the doctors put it. When we found out, he was like, the doctors were like, so you guys like to drink? And we're like, yeah. And he goes, well, make sure when you feel like you're gonna throw up, you go throw up. Don't ever fucking hold that in.
Oh really?
Yeah. So that's the way the way he explained it was, my father, I would hear him like if he was like gagging, and my mom would have to like knock him, like, get up, levántate viejo.
Oh, when he was sleeping.
And he would my dad drank a lot. My dad, that was his birthday present. Like we would give him a 30-pack.
Yeah.
And then eventually later on, like that's what the alcohol, the stomach acid that would come up,
acid reflux,
just started cutting holes.
Yeah.
And then we lost him to cancer in 2011, and he was in remission for a while, and then it was just boom. It was like sudden, like, you watch like my dad was my hero. Mm-hmm. So it was like weird to watch someone who would be like, these callous hands, I could hit a nail and hammer a board with it, and then, you watch your hero fade,
become frail, and then
turn around 1 minute, be the strongest man in your life, and the next minute he's like frail and he's like in a chair, and and then now he's a body lifeless on a table, where he's just blinking.
What was that? What was that like? That transition in your mind, like seeing that? Because how old were you when you first saw it?
I was like in between my 20s and my 30s.
Yeah.
It was just, it struck me that for someone who was never sick, never got sick, never had an ailment in his life, never had to see the doctor.
So he seemed invincible.
Yeah, and then one day, I remember he walked in and he goes, "Hey man," he told my brother to take him to the hospital because he didn't feel good. And he was tired.
Yeah.
He was getting tired a lot. And I was like, what the fuck? And then we found out, and then we all had to sit down, and the transition was just odd, because to see someone who worked so much in his entire life, worked every day to provide and give me an opportunity and the American dream, to tell me that, you work hard, you can have everything, and I've done that. And he's always been a part of my life, and he's also been a part of some comedy too, because my dad used to tell me a bunch of jokes in Spanish.
Yeah, of course.
A bunch of jokes. And my dad used to watch these movies called La Risa en Vacaciones. And these were like Mexican.
Were like guys a perv and shit?
Yeah, and they were always like pranking people live.
I remember those. Yeah, I used to watch those.
And I used to love watching one where they were in like a department store.
Yep.
And one of them, some girl's changing in a bikini, and then the mirror turns, and it's a dude going, "Ha ha!" And then all of a sudden, and the mirror turns back, and she's walking in with the manager. They're like, like what? Like there was someone there, like So my dad always tried to make us laugh.
Yeah.
Even though he was a man, like being a older Mexican man, I did come from a lot of people are like, oh well, like when you hit my dad was conservative, but he worked so hard.
Yeah.
Like he became a citizen when he was an illegal immigrant, came across the border, became a citizen.
Yeah.
But my dad always he worked.
Yep.
All he knew was work.
Yep.
And he always told me, you gotta go to work.
Yeah.
Gotta go to work.
Yeah.
So I go to work.
Yep.
And I remember, a lot of stuff of like, he worked so hard, and then to watch him get frail.
Yep.
And then for me to be like, hey man, I remember the last conversation I had with my father, when he was still before he ended up in his deathbed. I sat right next to him, and I gave him a hug, and I go, I love you, Dad. I go, I'm sorry for all the shit I put you through, and all the cars that I cut up in the backyard throughout the time. And I go, I always remember you when you build me those wagons. My dad used to build wooden wagons for me.
Nice.
So I was the kid that my dad always made something because we couldn't have it. So when kids had radio flyers, I had a wooden dump truck.
Yeah.
A wooden dump truck wagon that I could sit in and be pulled or pull it.
Yeah.
And the little back thing would dump and my dad made all that for me.
Damn.
So my dad always made, if I wanted something, if he saw something, oh, you want, my dad made me a scooter when other kids had those fucking BMX metal ones. My dad made one out of just like they did in Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Fucking skateboard, drilled a stick to it, and boom, 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 done.
There you go, dude. There you go.
My dad was good with his hands.
Yeah.
And I watched him build my dad built me a studio apartment in the backyard.
Dang.
And surprise, my dad did additions to the house that fuck a permit.
Same.
Fuck a permit, it was a little crooked.
Yeah, exactly.
But how you said, the transition from having your hero and then losing him was big. And then my mom followed a few years later, because how it always say, a marriage, once the husband goes, it follows after. So when my dad died in 2011, my mom lasted till 2014. Okay. In 2013, she started telling us that it was going to be the last time. And I go, no, you're not going to do that, Ma. I go, no, we're going to fucking enjoy next year. And then 2014 came, and she goes, this is the last year. And I go, you think so, Ma? She's like, yeah.
Calling it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, was she ill?
My mom had diabetes. My mom was dying from diabetes. She had 4 heart surgeries.
Oh, wow.
To where the doctors were like, somebody's watching over you.
Dang.
They cracked her chest open 4 times, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. By the time she died, she probably didn't even have fucking breast chest plate anymore. She probably didn't even have that anymore.
Just because it was cut open so much.
Snapped so many times that they had to break it. Like, damn. You know, she had a bunch of heart surgeries. She fucking had a stroke when I was in automotive school. You know, that no one told me about.
Oh.
So in 03, my mom had it. Like in 03, 02, my mom had a stroke, and nobody said nothing. I was in automotive school in 03. Nobody.
Was that out of state? Or?
That was out of state. I went to Wyoming. I lived in Wyoming, went to Wyotech. I came back to Arizona, went to AAI. So all the opportunities my dad gave me, I took them. Like, I wanted automotive. Fuck, I went to the best school at the time was Wyotech.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That was the only school. The time. That was the only school.
All the kids that were in cars in shop, that's where they were going.
That was like the only school at that time that was coming out. There was no other schools like they are now. It was Wyotech.
Yeah.
And when I got a hold of that DVD and I showed my mom and dad, and my mom was like, "No, I'm not gonna let you go." And I went. And I experienced life, and I lived.
Your dad came here for that reason.
Yeah,
he came here to provide you that, and told you, "Hey, you get to work, man."
Yeah, and that's what I did, dude. And after that, going to school, graduated from there, coming back, being in the automotive industry, you know, learning a lot of things, a lot of tricks and trade. I've worked at body shops that don't even exist now. Mm-hmm. I worked at a body shop off 67th and Northern, which is now an empty parking lot. And at one time, you drove down Grand, and there was body shops.
Are you putting all these places out of business because of your HR complaints, dude?
Probably, probably, or gentrification of the neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah, definitely that.
But throughout, it's been around, dude, and like my dad played a big part of it, and my mom played a big part of my cooking.
Yeah,
and a lot of my humor and a lot of my stuff about. My mom always said, "Make them laugh," but do it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, so like that's why a lot of my comedy is not political.
I gotcha. Yeah.
A lot of my comedy is like stuff I experience. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, me being high at work, or something happened at work, or me going out with someone and having a fun time and thinking of something funny. Yeah. You know, like the bit that goes. I have a bit that says, "Hey man, I fucking lost 100 pounds, fool." I'm like, "Why?" I started dating white bitches. And they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I started dating white girls." I go, "You date white girls, man? You get bland chicken, bland broccoli, bland rice, shit with no flavoring. And when they're not looking, I sprinkle that seasonal. Yeah. Just stir it in." And she's like, "Is it good, baby?" I'm like, no. You know, like, but I've dated white girls.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I've dated some white girls that don't know how to cook.
Yeah.
You know, I've dated Mexican girls that don't know how to cook.
They're all out there, man.
Like, I've dated tons of girls of different nationalities that don't know how to cook. And then you think, when you meet them, like, "Oh, well, you should know how to cook. Or you should know how to do this." No. Mm-mm. No, like, what my roommate's like, "Hey, man, you're Mexican. Don't you do yard work?" I'm like, "No." I go, I hire other motherfuckers to do yard work.
I'm the mechanic guy.
Like, I'm the mechanic Mexican.
Like,
I'll go, you know, like, even now, like, when people go, "Oh, you want to work my car?" No. Yeah, I do body and paint now. Like, now that's what I stick to. Like, my modifications, like, literally, I still weld and still shave some doors, but now it's just, I just do body and paint.
What's the solace that you get from doing painting? Because I remember when we were doing your podcast, we were talking about how you would paint, and that was like your moment to just, like, you were there for hours.
Yeah, it's just like, it's the whole thing is like, how when comics sit there and they go, "Man, dude, when you get in that writing, when you sit there and you start writing, or you start, man, dude, I'm coming up with good stuff, good material." For me, like, doing body work and paint, it's just, you'd walk in a booth, or you'd walk into the shop, and you're like, "All right, cool, I gotta finish this car. You know, I gotta get this ready for primer. I gotta get this ready for paint." You know, and then you just throw some headphones on, and you fucking take a couple swigs of whatever energy drink you're on, and fucking have at it, you know. Or if you work for one of those places, you took a couple fucking forest bumps and get your roll on, and then fucking start going at it. You know, get that Ric Flair style. You know, just what the fuck? Let's do this. You know, and then there's been times where, like, I remember one time I worked at a place called Auto Body World, which is now Service King, and there was a painter who showed me a lot of tips and tricks. At that time, was his name was Rich Player, and there's a bald-headed fool. And this fool, like, I watched this fool walk into. We would have like 8 cars to do, and he'd be like, "All right, let's do this," and he'd fucking sit there and just chill. And I'm like, "Dude, what you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, when you're a painter, you just fucking DIH time, bro." And I go, "What the fuck is that?" He goes, "Dick in hand." And I was like, "Why?" And he goes, "You just watching paint dry away." And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah. He goes, when you're a painter, you just fucking sit there and watch paint. You don't do nothing else because everybody else has their own shit. You have the wet sanders. You got the preppers.
Yep.
The final finish guy. You got the guy that's doing the fucking the etching, all the
pinstriping and stuff?
No, all the painting, doing all the door jams.
Oh, gotcha.
So you have the guy doing that, you guy doing this, and at the end, you just push it in a fucking booth. He shuts the door, and then walks out and sits there for 30 minutes. So I was always like, fuck, how the fuck you do that? And then I started doing body work, and I would be like, oh, well, all right. I started working at independent shops where it was like, okay, you do it at your own pace. And I started working at shops where it's like, all right, cool, we're only doing like 2 or 3 cars a month. All right, cool, that's fine. And then after a while, it doesn't be fun. Like, a lot of my friends have, like, I have a friend of mine who was on a TV show, and he did body work and paint. And you can still catch the episodes on Motor Trend of him painting a black Corvette. Nice. I don't want to mention the show name in case something bad happens.
No worries.
So, and another friend of mine is an executive producer for a lot of the shows on Discovery.
Yeah.
And if you notice, a lot of the Motor Trend stuff is now a lot of airbags and a lot of lowered trucks and,
Yeah, we were talking about it. It's like fashion.
It's whatever the new trend is. Whatever the new trend's coming out.
Whatever the kids gravitate towards, and they want different.
And that's it.
The young kids want different. So listen, okay, it might have been around back then, and it's had its prime, but
now there's a new version of it, and we can make something bigger, better. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people, like for me now, like I don't do body work and paint. My hands, I can't hold a paint gun anymore like I used to, but I can still sand and prep cars and slather mud and Bondo and stuff. I can still do that, but I can't hold a paint gun anymore. My hands will shake real bad. I can do my own shit, but I know where someone else. But I literally do like one car, one or 2 cars a month, and that's it. Like I don't
put you. That's not the workload's not too much on top of everything else you're already doing.
Like I got my project car and my friend's truck in the carport. Like the white truck that's in the carport. That's just got recently wrecked, recently put back together, and now I have to start doing the body work because it just came back from a show in Prescott where he took it to, and then now I got it, So the co-host Chris, that's his truck, and I'm getting ready to start doing the body work on that. And it's just like cars has always been around. It's always going to be a hobby of mine. Comedy is always something that I feel like I've watched it for so long. I've watched a lot of my favorite comics. I get to go on the stage and do it. A lot of people are like, oh, it's like open mic. Like, no, I don't care where the stage is at.
It's just a treat to get up there and express yourself.
As long as you can go up there and fucking, I remember, dude, I went to the Berg, this bar right here up on, and they were having a band. The band stopped. I went over there, asked the band dude, I go, hey man, can I just fucking tell a few jokes since you guys are like intermission? He's like, yeah, go right ahead. The middle table was laughing. Nobody else. I heard somebody go, you suck, get off. But I didn't pay attention to it. I just still trying to make the middle people laugh. I made them laugh, got off stage. The dude like, dude, thanks, man. He goes, that was funny, bro. I'm like, cool. I go, and it was just fun.
Well, and that's the thing about comedy is that, you go to a concert and all the bands are generally going to be in the same genre. You go to a comedy show, and it's just going to be
different.
A completely
you got people that are like, I'm a vegan comic. I'm a political comic. I'm a fucking talk shit and make fun of you comic.
I'm a hack.
And I'll be like, hey, I tell everybody else's jokes. I just reword them differently.
Right.
And that's weird because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I've heard that. A lot of people, a lot of these new kids don't know about Mitch Hedberg.
Oh yeah.
A lot of kids never heard the whole living in the van down by the river. I had an old bit that used to go, fuck man, I used to hate having Chris Farley was like, yeah, you don't want to live in a van down by the river, but Discovery Channel says that it's badass when you live in a van down by the river.
Minimalist life.
But it's like you didn't want to be the creepy dude living in a van down by the river. Like,
but you are.
But see, some people only know that, but people don't know the Chris Farley that did so many other fucking movies and so many other live comedy. He was like the Ralph May at the time.
Dude, he was a treasure.
Like Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
Oh no, John Belushi. John Belushi. I get him confused with his brother because they're both funny men.
But
John Belushi, Animal House. Animal House, perfect example. Dude, I used to love watching that movie. That's an old-ass fucking comedy movie. Had Kevin Bacon and all that. And you're cheesy fucking fraternity shit.
Yeah.
But it was funny.
Yep.
To him sit there with his mouth full of mashed potatoes and go, I'm gonna sit.
Yeah.
You know, and then food fight.
Yeah.
Like, fucking crazy, you know. And then to him, the infamous motherfucker really did drink a whole bottle of Jack in one scene. Jeez, and through that window where he throws it up against the car, that's an actual whole bottle that they threw it and he slams it.
God damn.
Like, that dude was hammered all the time.
Filming his end done after that.
Like, people don't realize, like, there was so much drinking. Because some of these guys were really, really nervous. Really did have anxiety and panic attacks. Man. Like, people don't realize that Jerry Seinfeld, really nice person, like, when you talk to him or when you see his interviews. But the dude fucking does, like, some people don't like certain things near you. Some people don't like Howie Mandel, complete germaphobe.
Yep.
He's nice. He'll talk to you and shit, but he won't shake your hand.
No.
He won't fucking hug you. He won't none. He hates that shit. There's video clips of people on his show that try to, and he'd be like, "Nah, get the fuck away from me."
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And when you see him at the mothership, and he's like, "Fuck, this is fucking not like." When you hear him, and you're like, "This motherfucker did Bobby's World."
Exactly. Well, same thing with Full House.
Full House, Bob Saget.
Bob Saget.
You hear, and then you see the roast, and then you hear all the bullshit about him, and you're like, fuck all the bullshit about him, but it's Bob Saget.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how the fuck, like, yeah, this dude was the fucking raunchiest, dirtiest fucking comic ever.
Yep.
And people like, the only thing they get mad about, oh, well, he allegedly touched the Olsen twins. Bitch, he has fucking bits about how he touched the Olsen twins.
Oh, shit, I haven't heard those.
Dude, he has a song called Butt Plug.
Yeah.
He has a song that a bit that he has, and he sings a song called Butt Plug.
Yeah.
A leather and butt plug. You gotta hear it, dude. It's fucking raunchy, and it's a song that he sings.
I'll listen to it.
Butt plug made of leather. There it is.
Nice.
Butt plug made of leather is
I'm
what he
gonna
is.
load that up to your
fucking phone and watch that later with the girlfriend.
Yeah, I'll listen to it right now. I'm probably gonna go hike Camelback Mountain.
There we go. Yeah, but that's it's like, dude, comedy is always gonna be there. Automotive, I'll always be around it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not gonna get out of anything. Like, yeah, you know, I'll always keep working on cars. I'm 40 now. I think I'll probably keep going until I can't stop.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm like, there's always going to be something. You always got to stay. You always got to be unique, man. You can't be like everybody else.
Yeah,
you know,
there's
you gotta
no
stand
fun
out.
in being like everybody else.
You know, like like in the mini truck world is like everyone can have the same truck, but everyone stands out differently because they've all taken that truck and made it their own. Like with comedy. With comedy, each comic takes their comedy and make it their own. They tune it. They add stuff to it. They take away stuff to it.
We can talk about the same scenario, but it's our experience in that sense.
It's like I can come at you with like, hey, like the bit about my aunt, me being an uncle, and you can come back with, well, fuck, dude, here's another one that's, you know,
me being an uncle.
You being an uncle, you know. Exactly. It's like, and like I can't do bits about being a dad. I don't know what it's like being a dad. The only thing I know is you got to make sure that they don't choke on food, and then you got to cut everything up smaller.
Yeah.
You know, and then they don't drink. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't drink alcohol. You know, you got to feed them sippy cups of milk. And
every now and then they'll try and take a sip.
Yeah, and it's like, no. You know? And see, that's the difference, too. Like, I come from a generation of, like, when I was growing up, my dad gave us a sip of beer. You know, to shut us up. Yeah. If you hurt your, we would. I remember falling down and hurting myself, and we'd be like, "Get the guys!" and fucking boom, throw a beer in my mouth. I'm like, "Oh, all right,
shit.
yeah,
all right,
yeah,
dude, I guess I'm good."
Yeah, you know. But comedy is always, I find it always to be funny, and I don't mind talking shit and like running my mouth and like saying jokes, dude. Sometimes I'm at the supermarket, dude, or like anywhere, and I'll sit there and be like, "I swear to God, dude, I want to slap this lady." Or like you see a Karen go off, or like somebody go off, or like I remember one time somebody went off on a Jack in the Box person.
Yeah.
And the dude walked out, and I go, man, I guess somebody either pissed in his Cheerios or he found out his wife cheated on him.
Yeah.
Like I just like I'll say, and they'll start laughing. And I'm like, yeah, you know. Like,
yeah. You break the ice and allow them to laugh and laugh.
Yeah, you know, you got to laugh at life, man.
You do.
Like, you know.
You do. Moses, this has been awesome, bro. I'm about to piss myself, man.
I know, right?
But I do want you to leave these fine people with a ultimate breakfast. What's the ultimate breakfast? Either like the nice platter, or maybe like a, hey, this is a bomb ass piece to go. Like
the place to go eat at?
No, like a dish.
Like a dish?
Yeah, like a dish.
For me, a bomb ass breakfast, man, is like a nice set of eggs, over easy or you know, or scrambled.
Yeah.
You know, some nice crispy hash browns. little bit of salt, pepper, 3 pieces of bacon, 3 pieces of sausage, and probably 4 pancakes.
Hey,
you know.
love that.
And then if you're Mexican, put some fucking chorizo papas in there. You know, a little
Make
bit
it
of
slap.
a little bit of queso fresco.
Oh, some crema.
That's it. Yeah, some crema or crema and a little bit of salsa or like jalapenos already curtidos. Like that. Like, you know, I'm used to like just bean and cheese and tortilla.
Yeah, just straight up.
Yeah, or like your best for me, comfort food for me would be a tortilla with butter.
Oh yeah,
and cinnamon and sugar.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like I could eat that all day.
Yeah.
Because like that's it. You know, it's comfort food. Whatever you feel comfort food eating, eat it.
I remember butter toast with cinnamon on it.
Yeah.
Yep,
See,
yep.
that was our cinnamon toast crunch.
That's
you know,
it.
I don't even think cinnamon toast crunch was out at that time.
Probably not.
I don't think
they
so.
probably took it from us.
Yeah, because
Another
I saw
thing they
everybody.
took from us.
Other thing they take from every fucking goddamn Mexican.
Moses, how can people follow you online, man? Lay it all out.
You can find me on YouTube at Layframe Podcast. You can find me on Facebook. I'm in the process of getting an Instagram again because my Instagram fucking took a shit.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I forgot the password full, and I can't even get into it. And I don't think you can contact Instagram.
It's not Backshots 420.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
No, it wasn't Backshot 420. It used to be blow loads on their faces at 6'9".
Oh. Okay.
And then I had to change it, you know, because
It got hacked.
I got hacked. And people were like, "Who's scamming us? They want me to send nudes." I remember Raven Gregory sent me a fucking messenger one time. He goes, "Hey man, I think the scammers are out today."
They got you.
And they sent him they sent him. He goes, why you want me to send you my nudes? And I was like, what? And then he screenshotted it.
He probably had them lined up too.
Yeah,
he was all, I'm gonna just make sure though.
Nah, that fool will send you nudes no matter
know,
what.
that's
Fool.
what I'm
He don't give
saying.
a shit. He'll send you the holding a hat thing, and I'm just like, motherfucker, dude. I'm like, that's why whenever you get an email, like every comic will never open up anything they get from their comic friends in public.
Oh no.
Because you know, but anything you feel comfortable eating breakfast, eat it. Like my mom ate fucking Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
To the day she died, bro.
Fuck yeah, man. Love Jack.
All right.
Lessons from Moses.
Yep.
Hey, appreciate you coming on,
No
man.
problem,
Thank you
dude.
so
Thank
much,
you,
brother.
Juan.
All right. Catch you later.
Hell yeah.
Adios.